All right, welcome back. Well, usually when a player retires in mid-season, it means he doesn't have it anymore. Well, that's not always the case in broadcasting. Leif Pettersson has still got it. He's just taken it to another profession. This is Leif's last game for us tonight. Feel a little strange?
Well, James, it really does feel a little strange after 17 years of broadcasting CFL football games. Unfortunately, some business commitments just have me traveling far too much now, and with some strong family commitments with a couple of young daughters, it's time for me to stop doing it. But what a wonderful transition for me to be able to have played for 8 years, move right into broadcasting with CTV back in 1982. And I guess the thing that I like after all these years of hearing players say, gosh, the transition to normal life was really difficult. For me, it was very, very easy because I've had 25 straight years of game day, so it's been a lot of fun.
All right, now we're going to talk to you more in a minute, but first we gathered some of your friends for a few parting words, so have a listen to this, Leif.
I want to go back to the first game of professional football that he ever did. Mike Wadsworth, Bill Stevenson, and myself covered the game in Regina. We had met his parents earlier in the day, and this was Leif's very first pro football game. And you saw him perform, and you said, geez, this guy looks like he's been in the league forever. Then he comes to television, and his very first game he does with Bill Stevenson and myself, and you say to yourself, this guy's been in the business forever. He has an innate ability to do everything well. He was a very, very good football player, terrific golfer, great tennis player, wonderful skier. Anything this guy undertakes, he does well. I mean, it really bugs you.
As a player, I remember his block in 1974. I remember the Grey Cup in 1976 when he had the car all wrapped up, and I don't think there were enough years in broadcasting to get this in as many times as we did, but at least 6 times a year we were able to remind Leif how Tony Gabriel stole the car in the Grey Cup game in 1976. Leif had a great game, had it all wrapped up until Tony got the game-winning touchdown.
Congratulations on lasting 17 years in a very difficult industry to last that long. By the way, I only beat you by 1 year, so good luck in your retirement, and we'll see you on the golf course.
Leif used the Canadian Football League the way you would like to see all the players use it. They came into the CFL, they really enjoyed it, and you can tell by being part of it for as many years as he has, but at the same time, he was looking down the road at his future, and he's used the football to better himself, and really that's always been the goal of the Canadian Football League, and I'm just always happy to see guys use it that way.
He took to television like a duck to water. It's just amazing how good he was. But he was a great athlete, and he does everything well, and I say that seriously, and he's a great friend and always has been. And it's too bad he's leaving. It's too bad for the Canadian Football League because he has been a real advocate of the football. He knows the game inside out, and I think he sells the game. And that's what the CFL badly needs, is someone who can really sell it and loves it and knows what he's doing, and Leif does. So that's why CFL is going to miss him as much as TSN is going to miss him.
Well, I tell you what, they could tell Leif Pettersson stories all night, but right now it's your turn to tell some stories, buddy. Your best memories from 17 years of broadcasting.
Well, I have some just tremendous memories. Probably the best one was trying to get Marston to the Grey Cup game in 1985, just get him to the game on time. But there's too many memories to try and to relate tonight. I think the one thing that I really like as much as anything, that I'm as enthusiastic tonight after 17 years of broadcasting doing this game as I was doing my very first, and I think that's probably what I'm most proud of.
Leif, I think it's interesting when you look at your expanse of time with the league. The league, you've seen it at its lowest points, you've seen it at its highest points. Heading into the year 2000, which issues do you feel the league needs to address basically, because there still are some critical points for stability within the league?
Well, Chris, I think one of the biggest things will always be, I mean, it is a gate revenue-driven league, and anytime it's that, it's going to be a struggle. You have to have fans come out to support the team. So as we enter into the new millennium, that's a tough one for me, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Can we keep fan interest up enough that people are willing to buy tickets? And that always has been the bread and butter of the league. The television networks, TSN, with its strong commitment over 5 years, the next 5 years, is great. But it's still the fans that have to support the league. And if they do that, it has a chance to stay as successful as it always has been.
Leif, as you know, some of the things that we treasured the most in this game are really just the relationships. You know, one of these days when you sit around and talk to your grandchildren, tell us about a couple of characters that you might tell them about.
Well, I mean, you saw the friends of mine that were videotaped to make some comments about me, Pat Morrison and I and Bill Stevenson. I mean, goodness gracious, for a young guy to start off in this league with those fellas, I mean, it was just nonstop fun from the moment we would leave town until we would get back after games. So those guys to begin my broadcasting career was terrific. You look at a Ronnie Lancaster. For a young receiver coming into the league that really was kind of green and wet behind the ears, Ronnie taught me so much. And you know, there's just been so many good people along the way. And, you know, the CFL, I'm certainly not going to be away from it, still going to watch it as much as I can. But to me, the resiliency that this league has always had is so impressive. And as with any great sport and any great league, there's tremendous people behind the scenes that always make it a good product. And the CFL has been no different.
All right, Leaf, no question here. A rarity in broadcasting. You can say whatever you like. Your final thoughts.
Well, you know, James, after all these years, there's certainly some people you would like to thank. And I have to look back to 1982 when Johnny Esau gave me a tremendous opportunity to leave football and move right into television, which was, as I said earlier, such an easy transition for me. And along with Johnny Esau became Pat Morrison, Bill Stevenson, and Frank Rigney on our broadcast crew. And a couple of guys behind the scenes that were great characters and fun to be with, Bobby Layden, Alex Mott, and of course George Cootie. And you know, like any good business or any good professional sports organization, if you have strong management, you have a chance to have a great organization. And with TSN, that is no different. And with Gordon Craig at the helm for all 14 years of the network's success, and Jim Thompson, of course Rick Brace, now the president, Keith Pelly, senior vice president of programming, they have all been wonderful friends of mine, not only employers. I've never considered an employer-employee relationship, but just true friends. So to all the behind-the-scenes people at TSN, I owe a great debt of gratitude, and throughout the fans of the league that have always been so supportive of me, and it has really been fun, and I appreciate the opportunity to thank those particular people.
All right, Leaf. Well, us here at the panel, we only got to work with you for a half season, but I can tell you what, on behalf of all of us, it has been a true pleasure, and good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Leif Pettersson, who very good broadcaster, and don't forget before that, a pretty good ball player. Let's have a look as we go to commercial at Leif Pettersson, the receiver. Pretty good hands in his day.
Beautiful night in Toronto on a Thursday night. Toronto leading Hamilton 20-6 after the first half of a key showdown in the Eastern Division as the Hamilton Ticats with a 6-1 mark take on the 3-4 Toronto Argonauts. Paulus Balderson has accounted for all the Hamilton scoring with 2 field goals, and he'll kick it off to open the second half. Balderson hangs the kickoff up high, and this is Steve Smith from the 22-yard line faking the reverse to Mike Clemens and trying to get around the corner. Flags all over the place as there was an illegal block. Smith is still up and running and takes a whack at the 28-yard line, so the Argos reach into the bag of tricks to open the second half, but it looks like it'll come back due to penalty. The numbers through the opening 30 minutes, and it's quite a story. One-sided as you might expect, but not the way you might expect. 229 yards in passing for the Argos and just 98 net yards for the Ticats.
Toronto number 3, first down.
Well, Gord, as we left the air at the end of the second quarter, we talked about Danny McManus. I mean, he had an awful first half. The defense played reasonably well with, as you see, Joe Montford's 3 sacks. But as we said, McManus has a chance to come back. He won't let him bother him. I mean, he's probably ticked off that he hasn't played very well, but he certainly has the ability to come back from 13-point deficit.
The illegal block against Clifton Abraham moves the Argos back to their 12-yard line. Bell gives it off to Mike Clemens. Pinball bouncing back and forth. Montford had a piece of him for a moment, and now Pinball gets out to the 15-yard line. One of the more entertaining 3-yard runs you'll ever see as Mike Philbrick was finally able to make the stop.
Well, Hamilton is convinced that Toronto cannot run the football at them tonight. Obviously, if they're playing 7 defensive backs and only Calvin Tiggle is the true linebacker in there, and really this play is going nowhere except for a great effort by Mike Clemens to just pick up about 3 yards on the play. But Hamilton is convinced that they're not going to have to worry about the run tonight, and I kind of agree with them. And that is a huge story. 3.8 against 9.0 on first down.
Bell fires it out there, incomplete for Andrew English. A long, long throw Ticats all over the football. Frank West thought he should have had the interception.
You know, and you look at the little things that really help your team throughout a game. This could have been a first down to get Toronto out of a deep hole, but for Hamilton, they've come out and, you know, they've done what I'm sure they talked about in the locker room. They said, look, Toronto's going to get the ball. We're putting our greatest asset on the field right now, our defense. Let's get a 2-and-out, get the ball back quickly in good field position, and, you know, let's see what we can do. So Ronnie Lancaster's team has done that to begin this third quarter.
Rookie Noel Prefontaine stands at the goal line to punt. Remember, he mishandled the snap the last time he kicked.
But had a great kick.
Bobby Olive is the lone Ticat back deep to receive. They're going after him. Prefontaine gets it away. A short kick that bounces at the 47-yard line and goes out of bounds, so the Ticats will begin the second half with excellent field position after just a 32-yard punt by Noel Prefontaine.
And you know what he did, Gord? He really took a look to see if the pressure was coming, and I really felt like he slowed down his normal routine, and as so often happens to kickers, when they don't use their normal rhythm, they have a lousy kick, and that's the worst punt that he's obviously had tonight.
Well, here's a chance for the Ticats to climb right back in the game. Down 14 points. They begin this drive at the Argo, 47. On first down, play fake. McManus, lots of time. It is batted down. That pass goes nowhere as Jermaine Haley gets a finger on it, and Danny McManus had the kind of first half he would like to forget. 8 of 21 for 83 yards, 2 interceptions. Kerwin Bell, meantime, lights up the Hamilton defense for 229 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and the 20 points. I mean, they were averaging, what, 21 points a game coming into tonight, so they have almost that in the first half. So, you know, I think Bell and Don Matthews and the entire team should be thrilled with how they played in that first half.
Bell looking on now as Danny McManus goes to work. Second down, McManus steps up, wide open, Darren Flutie, but the pass hit Marcelo Simmons on the shoulder pad. That would have been interception number 3 for the Argos.
Well, one of the things Toronto's doing on second and long is they're only rushing 3 people, and they're putting 9 back in zone coverage and absolutely squeezing down the lanes. There's Marcelo Simmons 9, and you have to wonder where McManus is throwing, and so often then happens than not, when there are 9 defensive backs and linebackers back in coverage, you really have to thread the needle, and that was probably one that McManus shouldn't have thrown.
Rather than try a 54-yard field goal, Paulus Ballison will punt. Trying to hem the Argos in deep. Smith from the 10-yard line dropped the football. Now back up and running. Smith around the corner. And a good return by Steve Smith, who gets up to the 25-yard line. A 15-yard return of a 37-yard punt by Paulus Baldiston. 12:24 to play in the third quarter. You're watching the CFL Live.
Play safely.
Had a taste of what it's like this week when Hamilton fans were pointing back to last year. The Argos won all 4 meetings against the Ticats. Remember Adrian Smith after the interception, and Marcelo Simmons as well. A little hot dogging that went on going to the end zone, and Hamilton fans have not forgotten what happened on Labor Day of a year ago. 46-3 was the final score, and this was the one that really hurt. Adrian Smith just parking on the goal line and hot dogging his way in. Kerwin Bell is up and throwing now, looking deep for Daryl Mitchell. Check that, Nigel Williams. He's got the catch, and Nigel Williams is running inside the 20-yard line. Brought down by Rob Hitchcock. All they do is throw deep to Nigel Williams, and all he does is catch it.
Well, you're never quite sure if this was going to be the option play to Daryl Mitchell. Watch the fake right here, and Mitchell's knocked away, and Kerwin Bell goes to plan B, and that's your outlet with Nigel Williams running deep. What a terrific catch he makes right here, going up over the top of Derek Greer. Second long bomb that Williams has hauled in tonight.
65-yard pickup for Nigel Williams. And Williams has 3 catches in the game for 159 yards.
Not all bad.
Gives the Argos a first down just inside the Hamilton 20. Bell under pressure, no flags down as Bell goes to the end zone for Daryl Mitchell, incomplete. Joe Montford was hogtied as he tried to get to the Argo quarterback, but Toronto got away with one there.
Yeah, Dwayne Morgan is having his hands full with Montford tonight, and Again, though, the blitz coming from Hamilton, the Toronto offensive line, and Dwayne Demetrician picked it up. They did a nice job with... watch Monfort at the top. Watch the hold here, but watch the pickup of the blitz right here, and this is why Kerwin Bell is having success. Demetrician with a good block right there, and allowing Bell time to throw and pick out his guy. Didn't complete it, but the offensive line and backs are doing a heck of a job.
Second down, Bell from the shotgun. Under pressure again, just slings it towards the end zone for Clemens. Touchdown! But there's a flag. What a grab by Mike Clemens and a great throw by the Toronto quarterback. Now, what's the flag about?
Well, where they threw it, it's usually contacting the receiver, and I think this one's going to stand.
It does.
On an eligible receiver, Hamilton, number 4, declined. Touchdown.
A desperation throw by Kerwin Bell, and a great catch by Mike Clemens for his 3rd touchdown catch of the year.
My daughters will be happy. They're here tonight, and he's their favorite player, and he spent some time with them before the game, and what an effort. Watch this. The concentration comes back, and that is a heck of a touchdown catch. A great throw by Bell to hang in with the pressure coming in. The Toronto Argonauts, who have struggled with point production, have really improved immensely in that category tonight.
Flags come down as the point after goes through. I'm not sure Kerwin Bell could even see Mike Clemens from where he was. I think he just threw up a prayer there.
Well, I think you're right.
Pinball answered it.
No, he just threw it as far as he could, slingshot it to the corner of the end zone, and just hoped that his guy would make the catch. And so often that's what quarterbacks have to do.
Toronto number 54. Repeat the conference.
Procedure is the call against Toronto. Eric Begos is having a much longer night than he'd hoped for. But he hasn't missed yet. So this conversion try will come from 17 yards out. Good practice anyway. And Begos puts it through. So the pinball strikes as he has so many times before against Hamilton. 27-6, the Argos lead. A scoring drive for the Argonauts. Nigel Williams, the 65-yard pass and run, and then Mike Clemens makes the great over-the-shoulder catch for the 20-yard touchdown.
You know, Gord, sometimes a quarterback can make his offensive lineman look good. Here's Jude St. John, and as Mike Philbrick comes up, watch Kerwin Bell step up into the pocket. Mike Philbrick thinks he has a shot, but here's a quarterback who's helping his offensive lineman look good. Bell steps up into the open spot, picks out Clemens, gets the touchdown pass, but when it looked like the protection had broken down, Bell really did the right thing.
Pinball last year in the Labor Day thumping of Hamilton had 6 catches and 2 touchdowns. Begos kicks it off, and this is Ronald Williams from the 15-yard line. Williams trying to get around the right side, does, and gets up to the 38-yard line before he's stopped on the play by the Argos' Lester Smith. So Hamilton will go back to work, but now back in the deep hole, down 21.
Well, I guess the one thing that Danny McManus has to be thinking about is obviously we need some points, but what he's got to do is try to keep the Toronto offense off the field for a while, because they've been running on all cylinders, and, you know, trailing by 21 at the high level that Toronto's offense is performing at, there is a real sense of urgency now for Danny McManus to answer.
Ticats start at their own 38-yard line with 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. McManus trying to find someone open and looking for Mike Moriali. The pass falls incomplete. And what happened to the Ticats, who shredded Edmonton for 2 weeks?
Well, I think Ronnie Lancaster's trying to figure that out. This is what they did a week ago in the second half, and obviously he's hoping that they can have a repeat of that. But this Toronto defense, you know, I go back to and repeat what David Amber reported earlier about his conversation with Mike O'Shea. Hey, Toronto's ticked off. They feel they should be the #1 ranked defense in the league, and they really felt like they wanted to go out tonight and prove that, and they certainly are going a long way to being a great defense.
McManus in the shotgun, trying to set up the screen pass for Ronald Williams, and that is submarine neatly by Michael O'Shea, the ex-Ticat, who got in there so quickly, and he's been hearing a smattering of boos again from the Hamilton fans who are here tonight.
Well, of course, they don't like Mike O'Shea because he became a free agent, and when he left, he did not make it in the NFL, chose to come to Toronto instead of Hamilton, and that would tick anybody off in Steeltown. So he's always going to hear some boos, but I know one thing, he's a heck of a player, and he is, you know, you talk about who's the heart and soul of a defense. Mike O'Shea certainly gives that to Toronto.
kicked out of the game last week and admitted, I lost my cool, and said it won't happen again. Paulus Baldiston to punt. Low kick, not a good one, as Smith takes the bouncing ball to the 33-yard line. And he's thrown down on the play by Kyle Walters. Just a 34-yard kick by Paulus Baldiston. So Kerwin Bell and the Argos will go back to work, and we remind you that the Argos were good enough to lift the blackout here tonight, which we appreciate, and we remind you that if you're in the Toronto area, here's the number you can call for tickets to a Toronto Argonaut game. Good crowd here tonight. Looks like about 25,000. I'm guessing.
They were hoping for 25. They felt like if they got 25 tonight, that'd be a true step in the right direction. Toronto's been a tough town to sell in the last few years, and it's tough to figure because the product that the Argonauts have put on the field the last few seasons with Doug Flutie certainly has been first rate.
Bell gives it off to Clemens. Big hole for Pinball. And Pinball out across the 40, squirts up to the 43-yard line, a gain of close to 10 yards. Should be good for a Toronto first down.
When Hamilton's going to continue to play 7 defensive backs, at some point in time, you've got to attack them with the run. You can do it with screens, and you can do it with draws. And right here, a huge hole opens up front for Clemens, and without a doubt, the most successful running play they've had tonight. But there's a few ways you can do it. You can attack that kind of a defense with traps. You can attack it with screens, and you can with draws. And to John Jenkins' credit, they have put a few of those plays in for the second half. And you look at teams' adjustments, that is certainly one of the ones that Toronto has made.
One of the unfolding stories here tonight, the Argo-Ticat rivalry. John Jenkins, the Argo offensive coordinator, was fired by then Ticat coach Don Southern. The two of those men, no love lost for each other. Now Southern's the defensive coordinator for Hamilton. Jenkins running the Argo offense.
That was a bad situation with John Jenkins in Hamilton, and a lot of mudslinging occurred over that.
Second and inches as the Pinball team just short. And Jay Barker comes in to run the short yardage play for Toronto when he gets the first down as he slides up to the 45-yard line. And the John Jenkins, Don Southern thing is interesting because you couldn't find two more different guys. Jenkins eating the ice cream there.
I want one of those.
Is that like the Red Auerbach Victory cigar when he starts eating the ice cream? But
I don't think so.
They're just two different guys, and both had bad feelings when the parting of the ways happened. John Jenkins, you'd have to think, at some point will get a shot to be a head coach in the CFL.
I would think he probably would. You look at likely candidates, and John's had great success offensively wherever he has been with Winnipeg and Hamilton and now Toronto.
Early movement, play action fake. Kerwin Bell going for Daryl Mitchell. Wide open, but it is incomplete. And a free play for the Argos as it looked as though Hamilton had jumped offside. Jenkins deserves a lot of the credit for the Argos being able to overcome the loss of Doug Flutie and still produce offensively.
Hamilton, number 77. Repeat first down.
And Southern, meantime, the architect of this Hamilton defense that leads the league in all the key categories.
And of course, I mean, this is his natural coaching position. I mean, everybody wants to be a head coach. I mean, there's no question about that. But if you're not going to be a head coach, do the next best thing. And he is a great defensive coordinator and some tremendous years on as a defensive coordinator with the Calgary.